Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Dandavat pranams to all the devotees. Thank you all for joining in for today's study session. We'll start with prayers. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Udapadakammalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavansya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsya Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauri Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradhayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namni Gauru Dushenmaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Musute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Musute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tarale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. So, welcoming all of you again to the teachings of Lord Chaitanya study. We are on chapter number 14 today. Yesterday we saw about the Ragatmika Bhaktas, who are the Vrindavan Vasis, who have unconditional love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, and who render unmotivated, uninterrupted service under the lotus feet of the Lord. And what can be our position? We can never become Ragatmika Bhaktas, like we discussed. We can become Raganuga Bhaktas. Currently, we are Sadhaka Bhaktas. We don't have love for the Lord. Or rather, our love, our dormant love for the Lord is covered by all of those lusty desires, a desire for sense gratification, desire for personal aggrandizement, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. All of those are covering our dormant love for Lord Sri Krishna. By following in the footsteps of the Ragatimika Bhaktas, right? By understanding what is their mood, what is their consciousness, which was actually described in the previous chapter, we can try to develop those qualities by performing seva with the mood and attitude of not expecting anything in return for devotional service. Right? Devotional service in itself is susukam kartum avyayam. When we please Rishikesh Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. When we serve the senses of the Lord, Rishikesha, through our senses, Rishikena, that's called Bhakti. And that Bhakti, when rendered for the pleasure of the Lord, automatically gives us also pleasure. Because when the Lord is pleased, all of his amshas, Mameva Amsho Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. We are all Jiva in this Loka, in this planet. We can all be in complete bliss. If you're able to give that complete bliss and satisfaction and pleasure to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So let's move ahead. This chapter is also very high tattva, right? Teachings of Lord Chaitanya gives us the goal, the prayojana. What is it that we want to aspire? And Bhagavad Gita keeps us grounded. From here, how do I practice devotional service? So, Monday, Tuesday, we are doing TLC. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we are doing Bhagavad Gita. So we clearly know where we want to go, how the devotees are there, who are Ragatmika Bhaktas, who are eternal Nitya Siddhas, who are eternally perfected devotees of the Lord, and how we as sadhakas can, what is the destination that we need to aspire for? That is what we are studying in teachings of Lord Chaitanya. How do we do that? That's what Krishna tells us in Bhagavad Gita. So with this background, let's quickly go ahead to chapter number 14 of teachings of Lord Chaitanya, the ecstasy of the Lord and his devotees. All right. Vrishabhanu Kanya Mataji, I can see your hand up. Please go ahead and read.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Panchang Pranam Mataji. The ecstasy of the Lord and his devotees. The symptoms of highly developed devotional service for Krishna, which are exhibited by the pure devotees, are sometimes imitated by those who are not actually pure devotees. This is described in the Bhakti Rasamrut Sindhu. Without devotional service to Krishna, such symptoms are artificial, not actual. Sometimes those who are not conversant with the science of devotional service are captivated by the exhibition of such symptoms. But learned devotees know that they are simply imitation. According to the various division and gradation of devotees, permanent devotional attitude can be divided into 5 categories. First, peacefulness. Second, service to Krishna. Third, friendship with Krishna. 4, parental affection towards Krishna. And 5th, conjugal love for Krishna. Each division has its own taste and relish, and a devotee situated in a particular division is happy in that position. Characteristics symptoms exhibited by pure devotees are gradually laughing and crying when emotions are favorable. A pure devotee laughs, and when emotions are not favorable, he cries. Situated above these two emotions is permanent love, which is called sthai bhava. In other words, when one's attachment is Krishna is permanent, one is situated in satya bhava. That permanent loving
Sai
attitude, sai bhava, sorry. That permanent loving attitude is sometimes mixed with different kinds of taste called vibhava, anubhava, and vibhikar. Vibhava is particular taste or attachment for Krishna, and it can be divided into 2 further categories: alambana and udipana. Uddipana in the Agni Purana and other authoritative scriptures that which increase one's love for Krishna is said to be vibhava. And when Krishna is the objective vibhava, is described as alambana, uddipana, include Krishna's transcendental qualities. His activities, his beautiful smiling face, and the aroma of his body, the sounds of his flute, ankle bells, and conch shells, the marks on the soles of his feet, his dwelling place, and his paraphernalia of devotional service, such as tulsi leaves, devotees, and ceremonial performance, and ekadasi. Anubhava occurs when feelings and emotions within oneself are exhibited in the attitude of Anubhava. One dance and sometimes falls down, sometimes sings loudly, shows convulsion, yawns, and sometimes breathes very heavily, all without consent for circumstances. The external features
Hare Krishna.
exhibited.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandavat
Very
pranam.
good. Hare Krishna. Yeah. So, first and foremost, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is warning Sanatana Goswami about Prakrita Sahajyas, right? We are not in the mode of imitating the pure devotee of the Lord. Rather, we are trying to understand the tattva. What is the tattva? The tattva is nobody can be called a devotee unless such a person is engaging in devotional service. So that is the most important aspect of being a devotee, right? Whether we are in dasyaras or vatsalyaras or madhuryaras or sakyaras, whatever rasa or whatever bhava we have for the Lord, all of that becomes useless unless we have a service attitude, right? So sometimes prakriti sahajas, they don't have that service attitude, but they simply want to enjoy with Krishna, right? The other day also we were explaining, we were discussing how even Srimati Radharani, when she exhibits the Man Leela also, that is also for the pleasure of the Lord. It is not that she is exhibiting some emotions because it gives her pleasure, right? Radharani never does anything that will give her own self pleasure, right? She's always thinking what will give pleasure to the Lord and acts accordingly, right? So that essential quality of devotional service for the pleasure of the beloved, that is the most essential feature. And everybody who's situated in any rasa, even dasya rasa, he feels the same kind of ecstasy when he renders service to the Lord, right? It's not that Hanumanji is experiencing less pleasure than Srimati Radharani. No. Here Prabhupada is saying every rasa is complete in itself, and the person who's reciprocating with the Lord is automatically feeling blissful and happy in one's sthayi bhava. Sthayi bhava refers to our constitutional position. What is our rasa with the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Am I situated in dasyaras or sakyaras or vatsalyaras or madhuryaras, right? That will be revealed to us when we perfect ourselves in Krishna, in Krishna's devotional service, when we attain Krishna prema. That time in the spiritual world, what is our service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead? That is what is called Sthai Bhava. And that is the permanent love. That will never change, right? So that is already situated. When we revive, we go back to our position in the spiritual world and render service in that particular bhava. And in that Sthai Bhava, there are different kinds of tastes that is mentioned here. Vibhava, Anubhava, and Vyabhichari. Very, very high level. We will not be able to really understand, but according to what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is explaining here, Srila Prabhupada is explaining as to us in devotional, in Nectar of Devotion also, right? We are studying only the first 19 chapters, even in Bhakti Shastri. And even in Bhakti Vaibhav, we are not covering the rest of that. So we understand how high level all of this is, right? So Bhakti Vaibhav, we directly go to the Bhagavatam, right? From the first canto. So here, all of these, these expressions of love for the Lord, which is divided into Vibhava, Anubhava, Vyabhichari, etc. Right? It all talks about having attachment to Krishna and attachment to Krishna's Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela. Right? It is non-different. Right? It is mentioned Vibhava is a taste, is particular attachment or taste for Krishna. Right? Is meant to Alambana and Uddipanna. Right? Alambana is one's love. What do you call something which increases one's love for Krishna. It's to be Vibhava. Vibhava, right? Vibhava means it increases. Vaibhava, right? Bhava means our emotions for the Lord. Vibhava means what increases our love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? Uddipana also talks about the Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela of the Lord. Right? Whatever is the paraphernalia of the Lord. Right? Tadiyanam Samarchanam. Tadiya refers to the paraphernalia of the Lord, right? Attachment to everything that is connected to the Lord, whether it is tulsi leaves, the devotees, everything that's connected to the Lord. And Anubhava is the various symptoms that are manifested by a devotee. When a devotee actually engages in the service of the Lord in complete Krishna prema, right? Then such a person actually exhibits certain emotions where the person loses oneself. One is not conscious of oneself. One becomes so absorbed in Krishna consciousness that one loses consciousness of who one is, what one is doing. There is no control over one's activities, right? That's why we also explained the other day, yesterday, that devotees don't want to experience such symptoms because they want to consciously serve the Lord. They don't want to go in a state of trance that they don't know what they are doing, right? Of course, even in the state of trance, they always want to serve the Lord, but they want to consciously do it in service. That is why devotees do not want to experience these symptoms. But by the mercy of Guru and Gauranga, devotees do exhibit these symptoms. And consciously, devotees do not try to exhibit these symptoms, right? Internally, their mood is always there because they are pure devotees of the Lord, but externally, they are always practicing chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. They are singing the glories of the Lord, they are engaging in preaching, etc., etc. Why? Because that is what pleases the Lord. That is what pleases their gurus in the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara. That's what it is. Okay, let's move forward. So all of these gives us an indication, right? In future, whenever I attain Krishna Prema, so this is what it is, right? So this is just giving us some taste, like how Krishna appears in this world, giving us a jalak of Goloka Vrindavan Dham. So these are loving relationships that are explained here, so that we develop taste for Krishna, for serving Krishna, for developing our Krishna consciousness, for attaining Krishna prema. So that is what all of this is, right? It's not meant for us to imitate or artificially exhibit tears flowing down from our eyes, etc. Right? Because nothing of it is going to help us in advancing devotional service. Why we are discussing this as part of teachings of Lord Chaitanya is because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is explaining it. What is our eternal goal, right? So we should not be confused with somebody is exhibiting these symptoms. We are not going to judge them, nor are we going to get inspired by them, right? We are going to just pray to the Lord that one day I also want to develop such kind of unmotivated, uninterrupted love for you, O Krishna. That should be our only prayers to the Lord, and that's what we are praying every day in the morning when we are chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. O Krishna, O energy of the Lord Krishna, Srimati Radharani, please allow me to be engaged in your service eternally, and let me do that in the mood of unmotivated, uninterrupted bhava, not an expectation of anything, and not whenever I want to do it, right? I want to do it in every instance, every opportunity for seva. I want to pick it up and do it for your pleasure. So that is what is the mood of a devotee. All right, Sindhu Mataji, go ahead. The external features exhibited.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Pranams. The external feature exhibited on the bodies of devotees are called Udbhashvara. Udbhashvara. The Vyabhichari symptoms are 33 in number, and they primarily involve words uttered by the devotee and various bodily features. Different bodily features such as dancing, trembling and laughing sometimes mix with the Vyabhichari symptoms, which are also called Sanchari. When Bhava, Anubhava and Vyabhichari symptoms are combined, they make the devotee dive into the ocean of immortality. That ocean is called the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the ocean of pure nectar of devotional service. And one who's merged in that ocean is always wrapped in transcendental pleasure on the waves and sounds of that ocean. The particular rasas, flavors or taste of the devotees who merge into that ocean of Bhakti Rasamrita are known as neutrality, servitorship, friendship, parenthood, and conjugal love. Conjugal love is very prominent, and it is symptomized by the devotees decorating his body to attract Krishna. The flavor of servitorship increases to include affection, anger, fraternity, and attachment. The flavor of friendship increases to include affection, anger, fraternity, attachment, and devotion. And in parenthood, the attachment also increases to include affection, anger, fraternity, attachment, and devotion. There are also special flavors experienced in friendship with the Supreme Lord, and these are manifested by friends, such as Shubala, whose devotion increases up to the point of bhava. The different rasas are also divided into two kinds of ecstasy, called yoga and viyoga, or meeting and separation. In the rasas of friendship and parenthood, the feelings of meeting and separation are various. The situations.
Hare Krishna. Sorry, I was on mute. Okay, so thank you, Mataji. So here, what is given here is in every level of or whatever rasa we have in our saiba, everything has got devotional service in it. That's what we've been discussing throughout, right? Devotional service is a common thread that is running across the various rasas. If there is no service, then there is no devotion. Prabhupada translates bhakti as devotional service. So if there is no service attitude, then there is no point of having bhakti, right? Bhakti cannot exist without service. So here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is mentioning how each of those rasas have an additional quality added to it, right? Servitorship, of course, it includes seva bhav with attachment, and of course there is a little bit of affection and anger that is always experienced, right? Even in our home with our relatives, right, or with our immediate family members, we do experience all these. But they are all, it is said to be the inverted reflection of the tree, isn't it? Chapter 15 talks about it, right? So there's affection and anger, they're all transcendental, what is experienced in the spiritual rasas. But they are material, and they are more self-oriented, selfish oriented when it comes to material world, right? So when we have friendship with somebody, right, we do allow that person to have that emotion of anger, have that emotion of affection towards us, etc. Right? We like to make up with our friends, when our friends get angry, etc. So these are all material, and it is selfish in the material world. However, all of these become transcendental, where everything is done for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. That is spiritual consciousness, right? It's only the consciousness that differs, right? Because we do it for our own sense gratification in the material world. We do experience friendship, we do experience somebody serving us, and we serve somebody, and then we also have all these rasas, right? We have our parents, we have our children, right? All of this in the material world is towards satisfying I, me, aham mameti, I, my family, my senses, my community. I is the center of everything, right? My family, my community, my country, whatever may be, right? But all of this, when I is removed and Krishna is in the center of all that we desire to do, all that we do, then it becomes a spiritual consciousness. Then that friendship becomes transcendental. Then that attachment becomes transcendental. Then that affection becomes transcendental, right? We don't want to, like I've seen father and son, sit down and drink alcohol together. Is that a love between father and son? No. Both of them are trying to enjoy their own senses, but in each other's company. Nobody is benefiting the other, right? So that is not affection, right? That is, each one is doing sense gratification in the company of each other, because each one of them, they are gratifying their own senses. But a father who really loves his son, would practice his own self Krishna consciousness, and would try to make his son Krishna conscious. Why? Because that is what is going to give the son eternal bliss. Not sit down and play cards or have alcohol, etc. Those are going to get not only himself, but he's also getting a son bound to this material world, to three modes of material nature. So that kind of affection, that kind of love, even which can be called vatsalya, right? It's a love between the father and son, or a mother and son, or mother and daughter. Does not really matter. What is the essence of that relationship? Is it sense gratification, or is it service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead? That determines whether the relationship is completely material, for material enjoyment, or whether the relationship is for progress in Krishna consciousness. And that adds the spiritual flavor to the relationship. And then Prabhupada also talks about here yoga and yoga, which we typically know as Sambhoga and Vipralamba, right? Sambhoga means service, in the association of the devotee, whereas Vipralamba means service in separation, right? So recently, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj left this world, right? So devotees, right? As long as it's possible, we have to do Vapu Seva to our spiritual masters, to the devotees, right? But when it is not possible, then we do Vipralamba Seva. Vipralamba Seva means following the instructions. Prabhupada said, between Vani Seva and Vapu Seva, Vani Seva is Vipralamba Seva. Vapu Seva is Sambhoga. That means in the presence of the person, when we render service, that is called Vapu Seva. Oh, okay. The microphone volume is little low. I'll just please. Okay. I hope it's fine now. Okay. So what was I saying? Yeah. So even in the spiritual world, the Vipralamba Seva is supposed to be even more blissful, right? Which is what is experienced by Srimati Radharani also. Like, what is that? Service and separation. That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also says is the highest level of love. Aslishyava padaratam pinashtuma adarshanan marmahatam karotuva. Yata tatha vidadatu lampato mat prananatastu sa evanapara. Right? Even if you are present before me, or even if you are not present before me, because when a person is not present before us, that person always remains in our thoughts, in our actions. Right? We constantly think of that person. Right? Prabhupada gives an example in his lecture how if a child is going for study somewhere else, right? Then the mother actually, when she's folding the clothes, when she's keeping the clothes in the almara, when she's seeing, her daughter's clothes, or her daughter's, the various paraphernalia like the books or the things used by her, then automatically the mother's heart remembers the daughter in fond love and remembrance. Right. In that case, the remembrance, there's always in this material world, they say familiarity breeds contempt, and out of mind, out of sight, out of mind. That is because that person is not giving us a sense gratification when that person is not around us. Right. But in the spiritual parlance, when we want to serve the other person, we want to serve the instructions of the other person, then whether that person is physically with us or not does not really matter, because the mood is of service, and whether the mood is, whether the person is in front of us or is away from us, the relationship sustains because the attitude does not change, right? Because the reciprocatory feelings don't change, right? The Lord is eternally wanting to serve and please his devotees. The Lord does anything for the pleasure of his devotees. The devotees do anything for the pleasure of the Lord. It does not matter whether the Lord and the devotee are together or they are separated. Like when Krishna left this world, Uddhava immediately wanted to leave, but Krishna told Uddhava that you will stay here, and then you will continue to remain in this material world even after I leave. And Uddhava was like, okay, I will do that, right? For the pleasure of the Lord, if the seva is required, a devotee is willing to stay. Srila Prabhupada himself, right? He left Vrindavan Dham at the age of 70, at the age when people retire, they want to go to Vrindavan Dham and, peacefully give up their body. What did Prabhupada do at the age of 70? He left Vrindavan Dham. Why? To serve the orders of a spiritual master. So he was in Vrindavan consciousness, even though he was in, San Francisco or New York or wherever, London or wherever he was. Right? So when we have this mood of seva to our spiritual master, to our gurus, to the Lord, it does not really matter whether we are with the Lord, whether we are with the spiritual master, or whether we are in Mumbai or Chennai or Goloka Vrindavan, right? As long as our service attitude is there towards the Lord and such service attitude is unmotivated and uninterrupted, you are always Vrindavan conscious. Yeah, so that's what is mentioned here, that yoga and viyoga, the meetings and separations, they various rasas experienced by the devotees at that level, at the level of Krishna Prema. But we see even here, right, when we render service, right, it's not that every day that we get the association of our guru also, isn't it? But we render service, we get instruction during the time of initiation, or we take our initiation vows, and then we meet our spiritual master, say 3 or 4 times in a year when the spiritual master travels, right, to our location, to Mumbai or wherever. So in that situation, we definitely take the opportunity to render Vapu Seva. We go, we prepare boga for, for the Lord and offer it to our spiritual master, whatever spiritual master likes, under the guidance of our spiritual master, servant, etc. We do things to please our spiritual master whenever possible. Vapu Seva is also very, very important. But when it's not possible, when we are situated in Mumbai and the spiritual master is elsewhere in Mayapur, in Delhi, etc., then we follow the instructions of the spiritual master, they execute the instructions of the spiritual master, and that is also seva. And it is not no less than Vapu Seva. Vani Seva and Vapu Seva both are important. Vani Seva is more important because it can be done by anybody, anytime, any place. Only that we have to have the consciousness to serve the instruction of our gurus. Okay, let's move ahead. Deval Mataji, please go ahead. The situations known as Rudha from there.
The situations known as Rudha, advanced, and Adhirudha, highly advanced, are possible only in the rasa of conjugal love. Conjugal love exhibited by the queens at Dwaraka is called Rudha, and conjugal love exhibited at Vrindavana by the damsels of Braja is called Adhirudha. The highest perfections of Adhirudha affection in conjugal love involving meeting, Madana, and separation, Mohana. In the ecstasy of Madana, there is kissing, and in the ecstasy of Mohana, there are Udgurana. Sorry, Mataji, how to pronounce this? Udgurna, unsteadiness, and Chitrajalpa, varieties of mad emotional talks. There are 10 varieties of Chitrajalpa, examples of which are given in Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 47th chapter, 12th to 21st verse. In a portion known as the Brahma Gita, Udgurna, a symptom of separation, is also a symptom of transcendental insanity. In that transcendental insanity, one thinks that he himself has become the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In such an ecstasy, he imitates the symptoms of Krishna in different ways. The two divisions of ecstasies experienced in the relationship of conjugal love are Sambhoga, meeting, and Vipralamba, separation. On the Sambhoga platform, the ecstasies are unlimited, and on the Vipralamba platform, there are 4 in number. The ecstasy exhibited before the lover and beloved meet. The ecstasy experienced between them are meeting. After meeting, the state of mind experienced by not meeting and the state of mind experienced after meeting, but fearing separation, are called Vipralamba.
That Vipralamba serves as a nourishing element for future meetings. When the lover and beloved meet all of a sudden and embrace one another, they feel an ecstasy of happiness. And the state of mind they experience in that ecstasy is called Sambhoga. According to the situation, Sambhoga ecstasy is also known by four names: Sankshipta, Sankirna, Sampanna, or Samriddhiman. Such symptoms are also visible during dreams. The mental state experienced before meeting is called Purva Raga. The obstacle that impede the meeting between the lover and beloved are called Mana or anger. When the lover and beloved are separated, the mental state experience is called Pravasa. Feelings of separation, which are present under certain conditions, even when the lovers meet, are called love anxieties. Prema Vaichitya. Such love anxieties are exhibited in Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 90th chapter, 15th verse, by Krishna's queens, who kept awake nights and watched him sleep. Afraid of being separated from Krishna, they talked among themselves about how they had been affected by his beautiful eyes and smile. The supreme lover is Krishna in Vrindavana, and the supreme beloved is Radharani. Krishna has 64 main qualities, and his devotees take transcendental pleasure in hearing of them. As explained in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the characteristics are as follows. His body is well constructed. His body is full of auspicious symptoms. His body is beautiful. He is very glorious. He is very strong. He always looks like a boy of 16. He is well versed in various languages. He is truthful. He is decorated with pleasing words. He is expert in speaking. He is very learned. He is very intelligent. He is influential. He is joyful. He is cunning. He is expert. He is grateful. He is firmly convinced. He knows how to deal with different circumstances. He is always conversant with scriptural injunctions. He is clean. He is controlled by his devotees. He is steady. He is self-controlled. He is forgiving. He is grave. He is self-satisfied. He is fair in his dealings. He is magnanimous. He is religious. He is a great hero. He is merciful. He is respectful. He is competent. He is gentle. He is modest. He is the protector of the souls. Surrender unto him. He is the deliverer. He is the friend of the devotees. He is submissive to love. He is all auspicious. He is most powerful. He is famous. He is devoted to all living entities. He is worshipable by everyone. He is very attractive to all women. He is partial to his devotees. He is full of all opulence. He is a supreme controller. He possesses all honor. Hare
Okay,
Krishna,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Thank you. Namaskar.
Yeah, thank you. Hare Bol, Dharat Pranam. Okay, very wonderful, isn't it? We discussed how Krishna possesses 64 transcendental qualities, and Krishna only possesses 64, right? Vishnu Tattvas also exhibit 60 of those qualities. Lord Shiva exhibits 55 of those qualities, and a person who's perfected, a jiva, right? All of these 50 qualities, which is mentioned here, right? All of these 50 qualities, even jivas have, but to a very minuscule extent, right? They don't possess all these 50 qualities in full, but a perfect soul, right? Who's eligible to become Brahma, he actually possesses all of these 50 qualities, right? Well constructed body, looks, decorated with different ornaments, and firmly convinced, clean, controlled by his desire. No, sorry, what is it? Controlled by his devotees. Okay. So all of these qualities: merciful, protector of the souls, all auspicious, submissive to love, devoted to all. Right? All of these 50 qualities we all possess, but to a very, very limited extent. Right? Brahma may possess all of these 50 qualities, not to the full, but predominantly he has all of these 50 qualities in a large extent. Right? That's why he's chosen, that particular person is chosen to take the position of Brahma. And there are 5 additional qualities which are going to be given here. Those are possessed by Lord Shiva, 55 qualities. And then 5 more qualities, they are possessed by Lord Narayan. That makes it 60. And then 4 especially qualities that are only present in Lord Sri Krishna. So that is why Krishna is the source of even Lord Vishnu, right? Because Krishna has 64 transcendental qualities, whereas Vishnu also has only 60 of those transcendental qualities. Shiva has 55. And a jiva who's perfected the life, who's becoming Brahma, may possess all the 50 qualities. So we read all the 50 qualities. Now let's quickly go on to the next 5 plus 5 plus 4. Who'll read it? Rajneesh Prabhu, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Okay,
the supreme lover is Krishna in Vrindavan.
No. Oh, you read from here. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you read from here. These 50 qualities are fragmentally present in every living entity.
These 50 qualities are fragmentally present in every living entity. When a human being is completely spiritually free, and situated in his original condition. All these qualities can be received in him in minute quantity. In Krishna, however, they exist in totality. There are five other transcendental qualities mentioned below, which can be seen in Vishnu, the Supreme Lord, and partially in Lord Shiva also, but they are not visible in ordinary living entities. These qualities are as follows. Number one, he is always situated in his adequate condition. Number two, he is omniscient. He, number third, he is evergreen. He is evergreen. He is evergreen or always fresh. Therefore, he is eternally blissful. He is master of all perfection. Besides these five transcendental characteristics, there are five others which can be seen in spiritual sky, especially in Vaikuntha planet, where Narayana is the predominating deity. These are number one, he is inconceivable potencies. He is able to sustain. He is able to sustain innumerable universes. Number 10, he is the seed of all incarnations. Number 4, he grants the highest perfection to those enemies whom he kills. Number 5, he is the effective of self-reliance. The above mentioned 60 qualities are visible in Narayana, but Krishna has four special qualities which are number one, he is able to manifest for pastimes. He is expert at transcendental flute playing. He is surrounded by loving devotees and he possesses unparalleled beauty. Thus, Krishna has 54
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah. So these four qualities that are especially exclusively seen in Krishna, they are called Leela Madhurya. That's the wonderful Leelas that the Lord exhibits, and Venu Madhurya. That means he plays the flute, right? We cannot see any other so-called God, right? Having having a good time. Right, even Vishnu is coming with Shankar Chakra Gada Padma, ready to fight and defeat the devotees, kill the devotees, right? But we see Krishna is, just playing the flute, right? Just enjoying himself, right? So that is Venu Madhurya. And then he is surrounded by loving devotees, Parivar Madhurya or Prema Madhurya, loving reciprocation with the devotees. That is the third quality. And fourth quality is Venum Kwanantam Aravinda Dalayataksham Barhavatam Samasitam Buddha. Sundarangam Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Visesha Shobham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bajami. So Krishna has unparalleled beauty, right? The personal beauty of the Lord. That is why the Chamasundar form of the Lord is so enchanting and is captivating that it attracts even Madan, right? That's why it's called Madan Mohan. So now we're going to go to that, to the qualities of that person who attracts even this Madan Mohan, right? She, by her wonderful qualities, is attracting and captivating Madan Mohan, and hence she is called Madan Mohana Mohini. So Leela Madhurya, Rupa Madhurya, Venu Madhurya, and Parivar or Prema Madhurya. Right, now we will go on to studying Srimati Radharani's 25 transcendental qualities by which she is able to attract even Lord Shri Krishna, who is attracting all the worlds. Okay, Sudha Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thus Krishna has
64 transcendental qualities. Srimati Radharani has 25 transcendental qualities, which she can control even Krishna. Her transcendental qualities are as follows. 1. She is sweetness personified. 2. She is a fresh young girl. 3. Her eyes are always moving. 4. She is always brightly smiling. 5. She possesses all auspicious marks on her body. 6. She can agitate Krishna by the aroma of her person. 7. She is expert in the art of singing. 8. She speaks very nicely and sweetly. 9. She is expert in presenting feminine attractions. 10. She is modest and gentle. 11. She is always very merciful. 12. She is transcendently cunning. 13. She knows how to dress nicely. 14. She is always shy. 15, she is always respectful. 16, she is always patient. 17, she is very grave. 18, she is enjoyed by Krishna. 19, she is always situated on the highest devotional platform. 20, she is the abode of love of the residents of Gokula. 21, she can give shelter to all kinds of devotees. 22, she is always affectionate to superiors and inferiors. 23, she is always obliged by the dealings of her associates. 24, she is the greatest among Krishna's girlfriends. And 25, she always keeps Krishna under her control. Thus, Krishna and Radharani are both transcendently qualified and they attract one another. But Radharani's transcendental attractiveness is greater than Krishna's, for her attractiveness is the transcendental taste in conjugal love. Similarly, there are transcendental tastes in servitorship, friendship, and other relationships with Krishna. These can be described with reference to the context of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Persons who have been thoroughly cleansed by devotional service and are always joyful, being situated in elevated consciousness, who are very much attached to studying Srimad Bhagavatam, who are always cheerful in the association of devotees, who have accepted the lotus feet of Krishna as the ultimate shelter of their lives, and who are pleased to perform all details of devotional service. Such devotees have in their pure hearts the transcendental ecstasy of attachment, which has been developed through old and new reformatory practices. That ecstatic state of being enriched with love of Krishna and transcendental experience gradually develops into the mature bliss of spiritual life. Tasting such spiritual bliss is not possible for those who are not situated in Krishna consciousness and devotional service. This fact is further corroborated in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 2.5.131, where it is said, it is very difficult for the non-devotee to understand the taste of devotional service. Only one who has completely taken shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna and whose life is merged in the ocean of devotional service can understand this transcendental pleasure.
Hare
Lord
Krishna. Thank you,
Chaitanya,
Mataji.
thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So why does Radharani attract Krishna? Right? Krishna appeared as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because he wanted to understand the glory of Radharani's devotional service. He wanted to understand how the servitor, Srimati Radharani, is actually getting more pleasure than the served, Krishna himself. So Krishna wants to understand what is that pleasure, which is much more than the person who served, right? I should be getting much more pleasure because I am the one who is being served and everything is being done according to my taste. But then Srimati Radharani is deriving more pleasure than me. So that is always the position, right? To serve, right? It is always mentioned that in serving, in wanting to serve others, we can be eternally blissful because we'll always find opportunities to serve if we want to serve. But in expecting others to serve us, right, we will always be disappointed because that other person may not want to serve us, right? So there is always bliss in wanting to serve our Shiksha Gurus, our Diksha Guru, the senior devotees, right? When we want to serve them and we serve them and they are satisfied, then bliss is always there, right? But if we want to be served, then we will be disappointed because the other person may not want to serve us. And even if the person serves us, right, it may not give us pleasure because we may be expecting something else. The person may be doing something else, right? But when we have this desire to serve and satisfy and please our gurus, then we get the intelligence, right? Krishna says, Desham evanukam partam aham ajnanajam tamaha nachayami atma bhavasto jnana deepena bhashvataha. I give the intelligence by which you can serve me, you can love me, you can come back to me, right? So Krishna gives us intelligence by which we can serve our spiritual masters, we can serve our Shiksha Gurus, our Diksha Guru, and ultimately Shri Radha and Krishna, by the mercy of Guru and Gauranga, by simply having this desire to serve the Lord. And how do we do it? How do we, as in the sadhaka stage, do all of this? By hearing Bhagavatam, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, right? Sadhu Sanganam Kirtan Bhagavata Shravana, Mathura Vasa Shri Murtaya Shraddhaya Sevana. These 5 angas of devotional service that have been described by Rupa Goswami as the top 5 of the 64 angas of devotional service. Right? If we do all of these things, then automatically we will become mature in our spiritual practices, we'll become mature in our spiritual life. And then, simply performing devotional service for the pleasure of the Lord, we will not really bother what rasa I'm having, what is my rasa, how much pleasure am I getting, because The mode is completely different. It is no longer what I am going to get. It is no longer am I going to enjoy, right? That is why in one of the Japa meditation workshop also they were saying, when I'm chanting Hare Krishna, I should not, today aaj mood nahi tha, aaj acha nahi laga Japa, right? When people say like that, it is not that for our own pleasure we chant Japa, right? Sometimes we get the taste because Krishna wants us to experience that bliss so that we want to chant more Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So we should be grateful when we are having that kind of ecstasy. But when we don't have that ecstasy, it is a moment of death for us. Right? Am I chanting Hare Krishna even though I don't want to do? Then Krishna is more pleased. Right? Krishna is not so pleased when Krishna is giving us the taste and we are enjoying our japa. At that time we chant 64 rounds. Right? Krishna will think, of course, I only made you chant today. Right? So what have you done? What is your desire? Right? When we don't have taste, when we are feeling little lethargic, when we are feeling Hare karna hai kya? That time only we should become determined. Right? Today, now Krishna is testing me. I should chant very nicely. I should chant with focus. I should chant with absorption. I should sit in a proper posture, chant with proper pronunciation, hear the Mahamantra attentively. This is an opportunity for me to serve the Lord. I don't feel like chanting. Now I will chant with all my attention, with all my awareness about the glories of the holy name. We can read those two verses which Prabhupada is given, 10.1.4 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Namastikam, verse number 1. Nikila Shruti Mauli Ratnamala Yuti Nirajitapada Pankajanta Ayimuktakalai Rupasyamanam Haritastvam Harinam Samshrayami. I want to take shelter at the lotus feet of the holy name, who is a person. Then Nivritta Darshay Rupagiyamanat Bhava Ausharat Shrotramanobhiramat Kauttama Shloka Gunanuvadat Uman Mirajeta Vina Pashuknat. Okay, this is the Aushadi, right? I don't feel like chanting. That is my diseased state of material existence. How do I come out of the disease? Chanting of the Hare Krishna is the medicine by which I can overcome the three modes of material nature and can lovingly perform devotional service. By reciting these glories of the holy name, we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. After that, then what happens? Even though we may not want to chant, we chant for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When we perform devotional service in this mode, completely depending upon the Supreme Lord, while taking the best efforts from our side, and being completely depending on the Lord. Avashya Rakshide Krishna. Krishna, I'm doing my best. Now it is up to you what you want to do, how you want to give me your mercy, right? That in itself, that attitude in itself will give us transcendental pleasure because we will be chanting the holy names of the Lord. Okay, so let's move ahead. We'll complete this chapter today. Let's see how far we do it. Okay, Monimala Mataji and then Karpagavali Mataji and then Anjana Mataji. We'll all read one paragraph. We'll end the chapter today. Yes, go ahead. Monimala Mataji. Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam. Yes. Not audible. Hari Bol. Okay, you need.
Hare Krishna Mataji, am I audible?
Yes, go ahead. Now Chaitanya Das briefly explained.
Lord Chaitanya Das briefly explained the transcendental situation, the spiritual release of life, which he called the fifth stage of perfection. The first stage of perfection is to become a religious man in the
Yeah, so this is going to talk about Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. What is the fifth perfection? Fifth perfection is Krishna Prema. That is the highest. Yes, go ahead, Mataji.
ordinary sense, as known in the material world. The second stage of perfection is to become materially rich. The third stage of perfection is the attainment of complete sense enjoyment, and the fourth stage of perfection is liberation. But above liberation are those already liberated devotee who reach the highest perfection of devotional service in Krishna consciousness experience the taste of the ecstasy of spiritual release. The Lord then told told Sanatan Goswami that he had previously taught his younger brother Rupa Goswami Mataji pronounces please. No,
At Prayag,
At-
Allahabad.
but at Allahabad, the Lord assured Sanatana Goswami that he had empowered Rupa Goswami to spread the knowledge he has given him. The Lord then similarly ordered Sanatan Goswami to which book on the transcendental loving service of Lord Krishna, and he authorized him to excavate the different sites of Krishna pastime in the district of Mathura. Sanatan Goswami was also advised to construct temple in Vrindavan and to write book on the principle of Vaishnavism. As authorized by Lord Chaitanya himself, Sanatan Goswami executed all these desires of the Lord. He constructed the temple of Madana Mohana in Vrindavan, and he wrote book on the principle of devotional service, such as the heart.
Hari Bhakti Vilas.
Hari Bhakti Vilasa. Lord Chaitanya, for Lord
Hare Krishna.
Chaitanya.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank
Hari
you,
Hari,
thank
thank
you,
you.
Mataji.
Hare Gaur, Hare Krishna. So, to Rupa Goswami also, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the Dashashwamedha Ghat, he had actually given some instructions. Similarly, that is in Prayag, Allahabad. And then even to Sanatana Goswami also, all of these, whatever we've studied in the last couple of chapters, they are all instructions given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Sanatana Goswami. Right? Important instructions were to find out the Leela Stalis of the Lord, and to actually write the teachings, because to elaborate the teachings of a devotional service in various books, right? So Sanatana Goswami has written that the principles of devotional service in a book called Hari Bhakti Vilas, and Rupa Goswami, as we know, has written the Nectar of Instruction, Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Upadeshamrita. These books have been written by Rupa Goswami. So these books have been written by the direct instructions received from Lord Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during their visit or during their meeting with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, with Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. So now, what are the other teachings? Let's quickly go ahead. Okay, who will read? Karpakavali Mataji. Go ahead. Lord Chaitanya further taught.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Lord Chaitanya, am I audible, Mataji?
Yes, go ahead.
Lord Chaitanya further taught Sanatana Goswami how one can live in the material world while being in a complete relationship with Krishna. And he also taught him that there is no necessity highlighted for any dry renunciation. The purpose of these instructions is that in the present age, there are many persons who accept the renounced order of life, sannyasa, but who are not spiritually advanced. Lord Chaitanya did not approve of such a sannyasa, explaining that it is wrong to accept sannyasa without having perfect knowledge of Krishna consciousness. Actually, we find that there are many so-called sannyasis whose actions are below those of ordinary men, but who pass themselves off as being in the renounced order of life. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not accept such hypocrisy, and he instructed Sanatana Goswami to elaborate on the subject in his different books. The perfected stage of spiritual life, which one can experience even while being in the material world, is described by Lord Krishna in the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. There, it is said that one who is not envious of any living entity, who is friendly, merciful, and detached from material possessions, who is situated in his pure identity without any false conception of the body as the self, who is equiposed in both happiness and distress, who is forgiving, always satisfied, always engaged in devotional service, and always surrendered unto the Supreme Lord with his body and mind. Such a devotee is very dear to Krishna. A devotee who never gives trouble to any living entity either by his body or his mind, who is never affected by his material distress and happiness, and who is never angry or pleased with anything material, is very dear to the Supreme Lord. He who is never dependent on anyone in this world, who is completely surrendered to the Supreme Lord, who is purified, expert, neutral, free of pain, and aloof from any material endeavor which requires too much attention. Such a devotee is also very dear to Lord Krishna. A person who is never subjected to material happiness or hatred, lamentation, or ambition, who is aloof from all materially auspicious and inauspicious activities, and who is fully devoted in Krishna consciousness. Such a devotee is very dear to Lord Krishna. A devotee who treats equally a so-called enemy and a so-called friend in the material world, who is not disturbed by heat or cold, who is without any attachment, who is equally situated when respected or insulted, and who is always satisfied in any condition of life without any fixed residence, and is fixed in Krishna consciousness. Such a devotee is very dear to Lord Krishna. Even if one is not situated in a transcendental position, still if he approves the transcendental life described here, he also becomes very dear to Krishna. Shall I
Hare
continue,
Krishna. Thank you,
Mataji?
Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you. So,
Yeah.
so these are the qualities which are described in the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna gives a lot of options. Right? You do this, you practice this. If you cannot do this, you do this. If you cannot do this, you do this. Right? Follow the principles of devotional service. If you're not able to perform direct devotional service, at least give a certain amount of your hard-earned money for the practice of devotional service. Do charity to Vaishnavas. Like all of these options are given. And how does all of these verses end? Asame priyaha, right? Such a person is very, very dear to me. Such a person is very, very dear to me. Right? One who's completely dependent on the Lord, one who's not attached to any material condition of life, one who's not disturbed by sitoshna, sukha dukkada, agama, paino, anitya, stamsati, kshashva, bharata. Such a dhira or a sober person is very dear to me. Right? And finally, what does Krishna say? Even if somebody cannot practice all of these fully, but at least somebody is appreciating and trying to understand this transcendental message, and even just trying to implement these aspects in his life, such a person is also very, very dear to me, because the person is sincere and wants to become a pure devotee of the Lord. Then such a person also is being blessed by the Lord to acquire these qualities. All right, Anjana Mataji, go ahead. Two more devotees can read. You can raise your hands. Go ahead. In Srimad Bhagavatam.
In Srimad Bhagavatam 2.2.5, there is very nice verse starting that a devotee should always remain dependent on the mercy of the Supreme Lord, and that as far as his material necessities are concerned, he should be satisfied with whatever is obtained without endeavor. In this regard, Sukadeva Goswami advised that a devotee should never approach a materialistic person for any kind of help. As far as one's bodily necessities are concerned, one can pick up torn cloth from the street, take fruits offered by trees, drink water from flowing river, and live in a mountain cave constructed by nature herself. And even if one is unable to do all these things, he should nonetheless completely dependent on the Supreme Lord, understanding that since the Lord provides everyone with food and shelter, he will never fail to care for his devotee who are fully surrendered unto him. In any case, the devotee is always protected, and therefore he should not be at all anxious for his maintenance. Sanatana Goswami thus inquired into all phases of devotional service or Krishna consciousness, and Lord Chaitanya taught him most confidently from authoritative scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam. The Lord also referred to the Vedic literature known as Hare Vamsha, which give information about the transcendental abode of Krishna. This information was disclosed by Indra when he offered his prayers after being defeated upon the challenging the potency of Krishna. In the Hari Vansha, it is stated that although birds and airplanes can fly high in the sky above the earth, they cannot reach the higher planetary system. The higher planetary system extends upward from the sun planet, which is situated in the middle of the universe. Above the sun are planetary system where persons who are elevated by great austerities and penances are situated. The whole material universe is called Devi Dhama, and above it is Shiv Dhama, where Lord Shiva and his wife Parvati eternally reside. Above the planetary system is the spiritual sky, where innumerable spiritual planets known as Vaikuntha are situated. And above these Vaikuntha planet is Krishna's planet, known as Golok Vrindavan. The word Golok means planet of cows. Because Krishna is very fond of cow, his abode is known as Goloka. Goloka Vrindavan is larger than all the material and spiritual planets put together.
Hare Krishna.
In his prayer in the
Chintamani prakara sadmashu kalpa vriksha lakshavriteshu surabhiravipaalayantam Lakshmi sahasrashata sambrama sevyamanam Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. So Brahma is actually glorifying that Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, where his planet is Chintamani prakara sadmashu kalpa vriksha. Right, where every tree is a kalpa vriksha, which we can fulfill the desires of everyone. And the best part is no one has any desire other than serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Laksha vrateshu surabhir abhipalayantam. Right, the cows are profusely giving milk. Lakshmi sahasrasha sambrama sevyamanam. There is no dearth of anything because Lakshmis are ready, right, to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lakshmi sahasrasha sambrama, thousands and thousands of Lakshmi are ready to serve Sevyamanam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So that is the planet of Vaikuntha Dham, where Lakshmi is serving Narayan, but even higher than the Vaikuntha Dham, right? Of course, we know the Ava Brahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravartina Arjuna. So higher planetary systems like Indraloka, Chandraloka, Varuna, the Janaloka, Tapaloka, until Satyaloka, they're all Ava Brahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravartino. They're all part of the material realm. Above that is the Viraja river, and above that is Shivaloka. Right, the entire material universe is called Devi Dham. That's why Durga. That means she is the fortress who's holding this entire material universe, and she puts us into various tests. When we pass those tests, then we are able to go beyond by the grace of Durga Devi. Then she hands us over to the Yoga Maya, and that way our spiritual journey to the spiritual world actually begins. Right, above that is Shivalok. Shivalok is Shiva is also beyond the three modes. Right, Shiva is also a person, unlike Brahma. Brahma is a position; anybody can become Brahma, but Shiva is a person. Right, Prabhupada talks about how the curd and milk. Right, in that way, Shiva and Lord Vishnu are equal, are same and not same in that sense. Right, milk is the source of curd. Right, so similarly, milk is Lord Vishnu is compared to milk, and Shiva is compared to the curd. Right, because milk is the source of curd, and milk cannot be used in the place of curd. Right, so in that way, milk and curd are same and they are not same also. So in that way, Shiva and Lord Vishnu are also same and not same. And you also know Shiva has 55 qualities, Vishnu has 60 qualities, all of that. And then Shivadham is there, and above Shivadham is the Vaikuntha planets, which were just now described by Brahma. And above this Vaikuntha planets is the Goloka Vrindavan Dham, where there is no opulence for Krishna. Krishna is playing with the Gopas. Krishna is having loving transcendental pastimes with the Gopis, the Gopas, even the trees, right? They're all persons who are willing to serve Lord Shri Krishna, right? That is why it is said that the Goswamis also spend when they are in Vrindavan Dham, they spend time in every tree, under every tree. So some acharyas explain that they don't want to get attached even to a tree in Vrindavan. But more higher principle, acharyas explain, is that because Lord Krishna has performed his various leelas every night under each tree, they want to release the pastimes of Krishna under each tree by staying under different trees on every night in Vrindavan Dham, like that. Right, so every tree, every part of Vrindavan Dham, right, Goloka Vrindavan Dham, Homa Vrindavan, right, they are all filled with the transcendental leelas of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and those who have the eyes to see it, they relish it every moment. Who are in Vrindavan consciousness, they relish it, right? Of course, people like me, when we go to Vrindavan Dham, we only see we only see with our materialistic eyes what is there outside. But the internal mood of the dham, right, can be experienced by those who have developed that love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, let's move ahead. Rohini Mataji, go ahead. One more person can read also. Yes. We have 3-4 paragraphs. Hare go. Yes, Mataji.
In his prayers in the Hari Vamsa, Indra admitted that he could not understand the situation of Goloka, even by asking Brahma. Devotees of the Narayana expansion of Krishna attain the Vaikuntha planets, but it is very difficult to reach the Goloka planet. Indeed, that planet can be reached only by devotees of Lord Chaitanya or Lord Sri Krishna. Indra then asked to Lord Krishna, "You have descended from that Goloka planet in the spiritual world, and the disturbances I created was all due to my foolishness." Therefore, Indra begged Lord Krishna to excuse him. The last phase of the pastime of Lord Krishna is described in Srimad Bhagavatam as Maushala Leela. This series of pastimes include Krishna's mysterious disappearance from the material world. In that pastime, the Lord played the part of being killed by a hunter. There are many improper explanations of scriptural passages describing the last portion of Lord Krishna's pastime, such as the explanation of descriptions of Krishna as the incarnation of a hare. But Lord Chaitanya properly explained these passages and gave them the right interpretation. As far as Krishna being incarnation of a hare is concerned, this is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, the Vishnu Purana, and the Mahabharata. In the Mahabharata, it is stated that Lord Vishnu snatched a grey hair and a black hair from his head, and that these two hairs entered into the wombs of two queens of the Yadu dynasty, namely Rohini and Devaki. It is also stated there that Lord Krishna descends to the material world in order to vanquish all the demons. Some say that Krishna is the incarnation of Vishnu, who lies in the ocean of milk within this universe. Srila Rupa Goswami, in his Lagu Bhagavatamrita, along with his commentator Sri Baladeva Vidyabhushana, have discussed these points fully and have established the exact truth. Sri Jiva Goswami also discusses these points in the Krishna Sandarbha. When Lord Chaitanya finished his instructions to Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sanatana, being empowered and enlightened, was so transcendently pleased that he at once fell at the feet of Lord Chaitanya and said, "I was born in a very low family and I have always associated with lowly people. Therefore, I am the lowest of sinners. Yet, you are so kind that you have taught me lessons which are not even understood by Lord Brahma, the greatest being in this universe. By your grace, I have appreciated the conclusions which you have taught me, but I am so low that I cannot even touch a drop of the ocean of your instructions. Thus, if you want me, who am nothing but a lame man, to dance, then please give me your benediction by placing your feet on my head." Thus, Sanatana
Hare Krishna.
Goswami.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Right? That's why we always say Mukam Karoti Vachalam, Pangum Langayate Girim, Yat Kripatamaham Mande, Shri Gurun Dinatarinam, Paramananda Madhavam, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ishwaram, Harihi Om Tatsat. Right? The Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whatever, if Krishna's will, if Krishna's mercy is there, if Krishna is pleased, then a lame man can cross over mountains, a dumb man can speak eloquently. Only if there is mercy of Guru and Gauranga. That's why a devotee knows, right? We also, the other day we spoke about the story of Punar Mushiko Baba, right? How a rat becomes a cat, and then a dog, and then the sage who helped him become all of that, who was merciful unto him, he wanted this so-called rat turned tiger, went to attack the sage. And what does the sage say? Punar Mushiko Baba, become a mouse again. Right? So when we don't have the spirit of gratitude to our gurus, because of whom we're able to practice Krishna consciousness and preach Krishna consciousness, then we will become rats again, right? Where were we there originally when we were picked up by our spiritual master and trained and brought to this position where we're able to speak something about Krishna consciousness. Isn't it? So that is why the principle of humility and gratitude are most essential for a person who wants to advance in devotional service. Right? Because if there is false ego, there is a controlling mentality, there is this false ego that I am the controller, I am the doer, I am doing all of this, then there is a greater chance to fall down. Right? So let's read the last two paragraphs. Shobha Mataji, go ahead. And with this, we come to the conclusion of chapter number 14 of Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranam Mataji, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Thus, Sanatana Goswami prays for the Lord's consummation that his teachings would actually evolve in his heart by his grace. Otherwise, Sanatana knew that there was no possibility for his being able to describe the Lord's teachings. The purport of this is that the acharyas, spiritual masters, are authorized by the higher authorities. Instructions alone cannot make one an expert, unless one is blessed by the spiritual master or acharya. Such teachings cannot become fully manifested. Therefore, one should seek the mercy of the spiritual master so that his instructions can develop within oneself. After receiving the praise of Sanatana Goswami, Lord Chaitanya placed his feet on the Sanatana's head and gave him the benediction that all the Lord's instruction would fully develop within him. Thus the Lord described the ultimate stage of love of Godhead. Lord Chaitanya said that such a description cannot be given very elaborately, but that he has informed Sanatana as far as possible. The author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita concludes this chapter by writing that anyone who attentively hears these instructions of Lord Chaitanya to Sanatana Goswami very soon becomes situated in the Krishna consciousness and engages in pure devotional service to Lord. Haribol. Thank you, Mother.
Hare Bol, Hare Krishna. Yeah, that is our hope and desire that one day we may be we don't have any other desire other than being engaged in service to Guru and Gauranga. So with that, a very, very important point is without the mercy of the spiritual master, Yasya Prasada, Bhagavat Prasado, Yasya Prasadanna Gati Kutopi. There is no Gati. There is no way. There is no other way to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead other than by pleasing our spiritual master. By when we please our spiritual master by following his instructions, spiritual master blesses us. It's about Siksha Gurus as well as our Diksha Guru. When they are pleased and they bless us, then the purports of this transcendental subject matters will enter our heart, and in this way, jnana becomes vijnana. Right? Then we are able to practice what we have studied in these wonderful texts, in these wonderful books of Srila Prabhupada, and we are able to implement it in our life. When we are able to implement it in our life, we are able to please our gurus more, and their blessings become more, and then we are able to render more devotional service. Then we get more of their blessings, and then we are able to render more devotional service. And in this way, this transcendental reciprocation of gratitude and blessings that will enable us to go ahead and rise above the three modes of material nature and be continuously, eternally engaged in the service of Guru and Gauranga. So with this, we complete our chapter number 14 of Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Thank you all for participating every day in this beautiful study. Next chapter is very, very wonderful. Explanation of the Atma Rama verse. So we will pick this up next Monday. Thank you very much. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. So we invite all of you for our Brahma Muhurta chanting session tomorrow morning 5 o'clock, and then for our Bhagavad Gita study at 12:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Okay. Fine. So let's do Harinam Sankirtan, and then we will request devotees to switch on your cameras, and then we will take up if there are any questions or realizations, and then we'll end our session. Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Vimate Bhakti Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Patsyatyari Shatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gaurara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Jaya Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, Sudarshan, Jaya Balagopal, Jaya Balagopal, Jaya Balagopal, Jaya Balagopal, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Gurudev, Gurudev, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. कलियुग पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन महायज्ञ की जय। कलियुग पावन हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय। समेत भक्त वृंद की जय। पिताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। हरे कृष्णा। सो आई एम सीइंग रोहिणी शेट्टी माताजी, शोभा माताजी, रजनीश प्रभु, Arjit Mataji, Krishman Kanya Mataji, Sindhu Mataji, and all the devotees. Thank you very much for joining in. Patitana Bhavini Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Anandagudi Vaishnavavrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Thank you very much. If any devotee has any query or question, you may ask now. Everyone can unmute themselves now, and then if there are any questions or realizations, we can take that and then we can end our session. Okay, Vijayalakshmi Priya Mataji, Karpagavali Mataji, Sneha Prabha Mataji, thank you all for joining, and Hare Krishna. Okay, nothing. So tomorrow we meet at 5 a.m. and then at 12:30 p.m. we'll continue with the study of Bhagavad Gita. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.